a philosophical stress ball for tech bros. Let me go from what our friends over at Google had said, and this came from a Gemini search, which was like, hey, here's what Gemini, our AI system, has to say about Broicism. So it says Stoicism is based on the idea that people can't control the world around them, but they can control how they respond to it. Stoics believe that virtue is the only good for humans, and the external things like health, wealth, and pleasure are not good and bad in themselves, they just exist. And then it goes on to say Broicism is a life hack that applies Stoic philosophy to entrepreneurs and young men. It's often described as a Roman regimen for success and self discipline. It's a practical guide for entrepreneurs, and I laughed at this. And
This is Show versus Business, where pop culture meets pop money, with your host, the real Theo Harvey, and Mr. Benja. So, Mr. Benja, what's been going on?
oh man, what's been going on? The world is a crazy place, and I think I'm going to call it for just about everybody, at least that I'm connected with, that they're connected with, and maybe who they're connected with. So I'm going to say maybe 3 degrees of separation for me, at least. So this is as far as I can tell. People are feeling stressed or something, man. I don't know. Something's going on in the air. And we got a few things to talk about that with the stoicism, some chill guy action, some people trying to get rich quick. We got Kendrick. He seems like a, a chill guy who will go off on you. It's and we got people snapping, man. United Healthcare is in the story too. So a lot of things going on, but it's like underneath the surface. Like they're trying to keep that surface shiny. Something's happening. I don't Do you feel anything like this? I don't know.
Wow, man, this is a different angle. I didn't see this coming.
I didn't either.
So you start talking. I love it. This is what we do with Show versus Business. Yeah, man, I think there is of a piece. Obviously, we just went through a crazy election. There's that. There's just this whole craziness going on with technology and what's legit, what's not, what's real, what's not. Yeah, man, I think there is an underlying kind of anxiety that's affecting everyone, and especially now that things slow down a little bit here in December as we're recording this for the US based holidays. I think people are starting to realize, oh wow, I've been stressed all year. Didn't realize it until I stopped and looked around and said, oh wow, I've been carrying a lot. So, because I felt that too when I kind of slowed down a little bit. I was like, oh, it's like the Flash. You're running so fast. He's on that treadmill running fast. Then as soon as he stops, then all this stuff that was following him just dumps behind him. He's like, oh crap, all that was behind me. So yeah,
Hot dogs, trash
yeah.
bales, pets, small pets flying by. I'm like, what was that?
Wow, I didn't know. So yeah, I feel you, man. Wow, that's definitely a different angle, man. Yeah, different
Yeah.
angle.
And you had a week. I know. I want to jump out there and say happy birthday. It was your birthday week last week. Catching up on all that wisdom.
Yeah, man. We say we're older. We never say how older we are, but let's just say we are on the, at least I'll admit it, we're in the latter half of the 40s. And so for those that don't know,
What?
I know, yeah, black don't crack, guys. But yes, we are have a lot of wisdom here. Between us, almost damn near a century of wisdom. So it is something that definitely proud of. And I haven't had my family over. It just obviously December is always a reflective time for me, but definitely around your birthday, always a year older, and just thinking through certain things about where you are, where you want to be, and things like that. One of the things I want to be is doing this podcast. My wife says, "Wow, you're dedicated to this podcast," and I said, "You know what? I guess I am." I try not to miss it. We been
Yeah.
over backwards to make it happen. Is shout out to those who saw our podcast last week where we did remote sessions.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where it is part of my life. And I was like, wow, I guess I am dedicated to this thing. So yes.
What did Benjamin Hardy say? He said your results are a reflection of what you're committed to. You look down and see almost 200 episodes. Apparently, I'm committed to that, and that's so
That's
good.
true. Good point. Sometimes I told someone the other day, I say we judge people by their actions and ourselves by our intentions. Because we intend to do different things and all that. But then when you look back and look at your actions, you're like, oh wow, that's really what I'm about. That's so much of what
Yeah,
I believe or what I think I'm
yeah, yeah.
about. Is
It's not
is
about
really what
feelings
Yeah, it's
or
just what I do, and it's I do this podcast, and so this is who I am. So
yeah,
it's kind of okay. So whatever you focus on, it's subconscious. These many decisions on my birthdays. I may put some videos out there on it, but the kids and I say this year because I've been traveling a lot. I said I want to spend time with the kids. So literally on my birthday, I took them to Disney and we rode some rides together on Friday. Everybody said, "Oh, you're such a good dad. Take them on your birthday." I said, "Nah, I wanted to go. I needed them as a cover."
I I love when people do that. They're like, "Oh, you're so," I'm like, "Yeah, I guess so."
Yeah, exactly. I told my sister said, "Oh, you're such a great dad taking your kids on your birthday out." I said, "Nah, I want to spend time. Nah, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to spend time with them, and I also wanted to be in that it's Christmas time. If you ever go to
Yeah.
Disney World or Disneyland, they have all the music and the trees up, so you get in that mode anyway. So that helped. So yeah, man, it was. Thanks for asking, man. I appreciate it.
Did I ever tell you about it? My mom took me to my first, consumer electronics show.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, you just reminded me of that when I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to the Consumer Electronics Show." I complained about it, I talked about it, I showed her pictures that I got from Nintendo Power, it was great, da da da, and my mom's gonna take me to the Consumer Electronics Show. I was hyped. My mom did the whole thing, she got all the tickets organized, got my dad, convinced him to go, and one of my other family members, it's like a grand aunt or something. I'm like, "Why is
I
she coming?
love
I
it.
don't even know." Man, we get up there and we go in the convention center. I see some things. I run around like a mad kid. I remember playing like some Lucasfilm games and was all excited about the new technologies and the Super Nintendo and all that. And then real quick, my mom was like, "All right, that was fun. Let's go do something else." And we just left. And then I was like, "Oh, my mom just wanted to go to Chicago."
Oh.
'Cause as a kid, I'm thinking that everything was about me, but it was just one of those moments where I was like, "Nah, man, mom is cool, she still did the thing," but, she was going to Chicago, that's what I'm saying.
CES just happened to
Yeah,
be in the way. I
it was
love it.
just like,
Yeah,
Benjamin wants to
yeah.
go, that's a good excuse."
And it's so funny, because as you get you see as you have kids is take on some of your personalities, some of your likes and so the kids are this is what dad likes and they may not admit that they like certain things, but they're
Mhm.
like my daughter, she's of that age now. She's about to be a teenager, so she's trying to be cool about it. But I see her eyes light up whenever there's a new Disney show that we're gonna watch or something like that. And so just to your point, yes, she went to the CES for you, but I'm sure there was some stuff that she imparted in you like probably love of music and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So I think, yeah, so it's interesting. It's both ways, right? You were using each other to kind of get what we want. Yeah. So
the
yes, use your
relation
family.
rest
Yes.
relationships, yes,
Yep,
I
yep,
love it.
yeah, they're reciprocal. They're reciprocal. But yeah, man, yeah, birthday was great. The other thing I wanted to bring up just content. I'm the content guy now. Some of the stuff I've been watching. I caught up on Cobra Kai. I know we haven't talked about it in a long
Ooh,
time. Yeah, they broke it up the final season to 3 parts. So I had Thanksgiving weekend, had some time off, so I finally caught up on it. Still pretty good, man.
wait
They got one.
wait, how many episodes is that? Because they didn't wanna do the binge with this one, I know, but I didn't know they were gonna do
Yeah.
break it up into 3 different segments.
Yeah, that's what pushed me back from when it first came back. I was like, "I'll wait." So I missed the first half, then I saw and the second half just came out. So I said, "Oh, I got time during Thanksgiving." So I think it was like 6 episodes each, so it's a total of 12 so far, and they
Mhm,
have 6 more coming out in February, and they'll be done. But the rumor is they're gonna probably do a movie with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio, right, where they're gonna get
okay.
together. But,
So
yeah, it's pretty still pretty good.
is the story based around these 6-episode chunks? So is it like a full arc you're watching?
Oh, okay.
Is it
Yeah,
set up
pretty
like that?
much. Yeah, it's a full arc, but yes, it's like act breaks, right? This is a
Sure.
complete act, but it's part of a bigger story, right? First, we're
Mhm.
getting prepared to go to the big, I forgot what they called it, the big global karate championship, right? So it's all
Yeah,
about that. So it's more internal squabbles, right? Who hates who, likes who. Then
yeah.
they get together, and then they do the second part. Is all about external. Everybody's coming together, and it's so funny, man. It still has that goofy stuff, right? Just like people saying stupid stuff that doesn't make sense. If they were a legitimate human being, they would know that. Yeah, especially the what's the character, the main character, not Ralph Macchio's character, but the other guy, the one who really makes the show. I'm drawing a blank
I
right
don't know his
now,
name,
but
but go ahead.
Yeah, Zapka, I
Mhm.
think that's the actor's name, but, yeah, so he says stupid stuff just to keep the comedy going, but they do is funny, they do all these different things where there's people go in and out. Sometimes they're lying together, sometimes they're against each other, sometimes they're lying together, enemies become friends because they gotta go a big against a bigger enemy, so it's just
Yeah,
they're constantly doing that over and over, and then they're bringing people back from other karate show from the karate movies back in the Karate Kid
yeah.
movies back in the
So
'80s,
so
so
so you're it's still entertaining then, because 'cause I'm looking at
I
your
yeah, I
face
think it
saying
is. Yeah,
okay.
man. Yeah, I to your point, if you're I don't know if you're still on Netflix this month, but if you decide to get back on it, maybe wait till February so you can just binge the whole final arc so that doesn't
Yeah.
delay things.
Oh, I will have to jump back on because the Squid Game 2 is coming up December 26th, I believe.
Oh, okay. So you're hype about that?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I really like the way the story played out and the way it touched the populace, if you will.
Yeah, okay. Johnny Lawrence, William
Oh, right,
Zapka.
right.
That's the
Yeah.
actor. Yeah, Johnny. Yeah, yeah.
Sweet Delaney.
He's still yeah. Sweep the leg, Johnny. Yeah, man. He still makes a show, man, to his credit, but because he's the kind of like the comedic version of that. But yeah, okay, man. Yeah, I didn't know you were a big fan of Squid Game. I don't know, man. It's been so long since the first one was a phenomenon, right? During the pandemic, it just blew up and everybody watched it. I don't know, man. After Mr. Beast did a version of it, and after all these knockoffs and all this other stuff, is it still can it still excite us? And it came out of
Yeah.
nowhere, so it's hard when it's like such a successful thing that was successful because it came out of nowhere comes back. Is excitement still gonna be there?
So I can speak to that actually. I think they know how. There's a blueprint for that, and it comes from anime where there's some big concept right off the bat. Hey, here's concept. All these kids are in high school and they get these powers and whatever. My Hero Academia. Oh, Death Note. It's about a book. You write someone's name in it and they die. It's like an interesting concept that carries you through the first bit. But then you're like, how does that last? And I think they figured that out. And if Squid Game does that, where all of a sudden they figured out, okay, now that we had a concept, how can we explore the world? So the connection to the police, the people that they invited, how the games got started. I think there's just a ton of stuff that they could pull from Squid Game to make Squid Game 2 happen. And they're keeping it quiet on the story, so I hope that's a good thing as opposed
Yeah.
to, "Oh my god, we don't have anything." But I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. You when we talk about content or TV shows or movies, you rarely say you're looking forward to something. So this is so when you say it, I'm like, oh, stop. Slow the podcast. What is it that you are resonating with so we can figure this out? Because you know me, I'm the one that watches everything. I just like, hey, I gotta catch up on my shows. But yeah, and then the other thing I watch, Mr. Benja, is I was looking around the kind of things to look at. So one of the things Disney Plus has Skeleton Crew. I think you heard about that. That's the latest Star Wars show.
Heard good things.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's this kid show, which so finally, I've been surveying which ones I can expose my kids to. Not Ashoka, right? Not definitely not what sexy Jedi sexy Sith time, right? With what's it, the
The
apprentice or what
Acolyte.
was it called? The acolyte. Yeah.
Sex
Sexy
sexy
sexy Sith
sexy
time.
Sith time. Hold up. For the kids who don't know, back in the day when they used to have like network TV, you would have your chunks of time during the day, and all of the programming, all of the inserts and commercials would change over. So if you were after school, it'd be like, hey, after school, make sure you learn, eat good food, da da da. Okay. And they'd insert the stuff between the shows and during the shows. It was a thing. You got to the evening and everybody got serious. Now for the news. When it came to late night, they would always like, "And now it's time for," and people would parents would put their kids to bed and everything, and whether it was violence or sex or whatever. But man, if I was a kid and it was 11:30 at night and it was sexy Sith time, boy, that's wild, Theo. That is
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, man. Sexy Sith
James, you know
time.
what to do.
Yes, put that out there, James. Sexy Sif time is real. Yeah, man. Yes, I couldn't let them watch that. So, but Skeleton Crew is definitely it's by John Watts, who did the cop cars. He's really good with kid stuff. He did a lot with. So it's just I think there's some opportunity here to create Star Wars from for the next generations. So hopefully the backlash, and we'll talk about later about this big, this culture of the men sphere, this backlash against anything that is perceived as woke, right? There's been a big backlash against Disney for a couple of years now and anything Star Wars that they perceive as woke. So I'm not seeing that same backlash for this. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with this. It's interesting. I'm not even seeing the same backlash for Wicked, maybe because it's so unapologetically, is that how you say it? Unapologetically. Guys, I apologize. It's been a long week. It's
James, James,
unapologetic.
run that one up too.
It's
We're doing it live, baby.
unapologetic. It's
Yes,
unapologetic. Thank
we're
you.
doing it live,
Um,
baby.
you didn't even try to help me, man. That's the kind of friend you are. I love it.
I,
He's just like, I'm drowning here. I can't say a word.
I was trying to think of funny words to go with it, like Appomattox Bay Courthouse.
I'm over here. Anyway, so yeah, James, run it, James. Yeah, so I think they just were really blatant focused on women with
Mhm.
Wicked, and so that whole just like Barbie was, and so yes,
Yeah,
there could be backlash against it, but it's just so hey, this is who we are. We're gonna be perceived as woke and all this other stuff, and really, because yeah, if you I don't know if you've seen Wicked, but yeah, they have a girl in a wheelchair. They have a
mhm.
the other one is she's is basically a lot of gay and lesbian characters. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different things in there that the manosphere would be, oh, that's terrible. I don't want that in
Well,
my content.
yeah, no, and to my, I've tried making this point before, and I don't think a lot of it is the straight up content. It's how they're putting it across, and it's how they're going about advertising, pushing it to people. It's, hey, this is just like insert bro character here, but not, because it's
Wow.
better. Because this character's vegan. It's, yeah, I just want to watch an action movie. Well, I don't care if he's vegan. Shut up, you meat eater. And it's
So
like,
you're
why are you
saying the
doing that?
characters should be unique to who they are. So if they are women characters, just be women characters. Don't try to shoehorn or race change or anything like that. It's just be the
N-
characters who they are. Because there's some
I'm not.
controversy
Yeah.
coming. I don't know if you saw they cast Snape, Professor Snape, as a black actor coming
Okay.
out. So that was played
You know,
by a white actor in the original movies.
yeah, that might be tomfoolery. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. It might be pure stupidity. It might be awesome. It's just in how, and you can start to tell the spirit behind a production. Are the people who are creating this thinking, you know what, we really should make Kingpin black, or is it
Mhm.
like, you know what, this Clark Duncan guy, he might be good for the Kingpin role. Let's try him out. It's that you can start to smell the spirit behind what built it. Were they trying to lead with the message, or were they trying to lead with the story and this character happened to work well for that story? Was it an artistic, hey, let's try this out and let's see what this angle does? Or was it a, I'm going to wag my finger at you because this is going to subvert your expectations and it's going to make you uncomfortable? There are different reasons to do things, and you can start to smell that in the kitchen when they're cooking it. So
Would
no,
you
I can't
say
say anything about
Samuel
Snape
L.
so far.
Jackson? It was done in the comics, in the Ultimate Verse, a universe, right,
Mhm.
in the comics, but would you say Samuel L. Jackson's character of Nick Fury, in the original version of Nick Fury, he was white. Now he's played by a black actor. Would you say that's kind of race changing of the character or anything like that? Or did it fit where they were going with this new cinematic version of the Avengers?
I think it worked out fine.
Okay. So, yeah, it's of a piece.
There's some stuff that, like, they're doing with Craven now. It just seems a little silly. Like, they're trying to make something as opposed to letting it flow naturally. Yeah, and it's hard to explain, but I've been in creative rooms where we're trying to come up with something, and someone goes, "Hey, what if we had the character do a dance number here?" And then all of a sudden, either somebody goes, "That's stupid," and somebody goes, "That's a good idea." But if everybody stops and gets quiet and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute. There's something here. This needs a dance number." And then the creativity leads you into that for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But if somebody who came from a dance school is adamant about getting this character to dance for some reason, and they want to do a musical because they heard a musical when they were a kid and they promised their dying mother that they would make a musical somewhere in their lifetime, then I'm like, come on, man, quit doing that. Just stop being silly. But
Mm,
as I said, I can't tell unless I'm in the room, and it becomes a,
got you.
it's a spectrum of an answer. I don't know, but
So you can tell in the room, right, in the creative space, if
yeah.
someone's forcing something to happen or it's coming organically. That's driven by the character or the story, right? To your points, and everybody can sense it. But if it's not, then you just, oh, dude, this dude really wants a dance number here for whatever reason. So it's just
Yeah, it's
and
like
then it becomes how much power that person has. If it's
yeah, it's like
the
okay,
creator.
to your point, the Final Fantasy III opera scene,
Mhm.
it was a fun little opera scene inside a game, and you're thinking, "Oh, this is interesting. There's an opera and everything. The characters are go okay, there's an opera scene in the game, and I play the role of the characters in this opera or whatever, and it works out." But if you're playing it and you're like, "Oh, man, why is this in the game? Are they what is this? This is dumb." They tried to force me to like opera because they think that video gamers are too stupid. You can start to smell it. As far as the Skeleton Crew goes, I've seen some of the promos and things like that, and it looks like it was just, "Hey, let's just have this fun little kid show. There's no need for the people to get mad at it." I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, so
Obviously,
let's see.
I'm not mad at Smart, so everything that's what it should be. That's just my opinion. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you the bro barometer, right? So, yeah.
Oh, man.
Where you go is where the men's sphere is going. That's why you're like the canary in the coal mine, Mr. Benja. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we'll put that out there. The other thing too, I did a deep dive on the presidents. Have you heard of a guy named Mr. Beat? Not Mr.
No.
Beast, Mr.
Mm-mm.
Beat. Take out a letter, a consonant.
No, I don't know this guy.
Yeah, man. I don't know how I ran up on him, but he just became this guy. He's been doing it for 10 years and he's done deep dives on pretty much every president we've ever had. Except for Trump, yeah. I guess it's because it's still so new.
Mm,
But yeah, if you look him up, man, he goes into it's stuff about presidents and then when you start listen to stuff, especially the presidents like Andrew Jackson or ones that you
yeah,
thought you knew but you didn't know, you realize like, oh man, you know what? This guy's just like this president, this Trump, or this guy's just like this. And it's like
yeah,
when you start seeing history, because they said history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. It's so
yeah,
true, man. We're going through the same stuff over and over again. We just forget. Yes, we got better tools, we have better communications. We've always been divided. We've always had controversial presidents. We had presidents that were ineffective. But
mhm,
for whatever reason, something always pulled out the hat at the last minute. And so when you get a better sense of history, man, you start realizing, you know what, it will be okay. And so maybe that, you know, is helping me with some of the anxiety you talked about at the beginning of this pod, right? It's just, oh wow, this because there many times,
yeah,
hundreds of times where we could literally been gone. No more United States, no more
yeah,
world. Not saying it would never happen, but I'm just saying that it's one of those things that once you start looking at history in a whole holistic standpoint, you get a better sense of perspective. What's that from? Shoot, man, what was that show, man, with the Cylons?
I forgot. Battlestar
Battle
Galactica, I'm sorry.
Galactica, right? They always said that we've been here before and we've done it again. It's like a cyclical thing, right? The
Yeah,
five original Cylons and all that kind of stuff. If you guys don't know that show, go watch it. Pretty great. But yeah, it's just we've been here before, we've done it, we're gonna do it again. So I think it's that cyclical nature of history. Cause I think that the fundamental thing, I'm getting philosophical here, philosophical Theo's coming up. December. Human nature doesn't change. It's been the same for millennial, right? But we think it's different because we have different tools. But no, the tools just amplify more of what we fundamentally all have always been. And
yeah,
so I think because that's been developed over millennia or developed by God or whatever you believe. And I think it's something that's inherent. So that's why history always rhymes because we're going to be dealing with the same things over and over again as the human species. So anyway, make a long story short. So yeah, go check out Mr. Beat if you just want to do deep dive. I did a deep dive on his
yeah,
big claim to fame was he created the interstate system. So we could travel across the country, which was huge
yeah.
at that time. Stuff like that is insightful to give better perspective on, hey, you know what? We've been here before. We'll be okay. Don't freak out.
Do not freak out. You've been on the content kick, obviously. For some reason, somehow, I in not no, I don't. I shouldn't say somehow because I know how I got here. But I started watching old stuff. Right now, I'm watching Alfred Hitchcock Presents. I found out that it was on Prime, and I was just like, "Huh, Alfred Hitchcock Presents." So now I'm going through all of those episodes, and it calms me down, man. It's so slow, you just have to okay, and it's old school and simple. So I'm just chilling out with Alfred Hitchcock Presents, still getting good story twist and actually coming up with modern takes on all of this old stuff. And like you were talking about with cycles, you see how certain cycles are playing out, and it's like, oh yeah, that's their way of dealing with this kind of situation. And all that is this in an old rapper or a new rapper now. So, yeah, I'm gonna be watching old stuff, and I gotta watch all through Dick Tracy again too.
What?
Yep, yep. Old,
Taking
black and
it
white,
back.
slow, bad music, bad makeup.
You know what?
Yes.
I think 2 things about that, right? If you watch those old TV shows like Donald Reed or My Three Sons, yeah, guys, this is old stuff. Go look it up. But you remember Nick at Night, they would show some of that stuff. And one thing about those shows was that only had you remember now we watch TV shows, they got like 5 different storylines, 20 different
Yeah.
characters. They only had like really one storyline. Beaver, leave it a Beaver. Beaver broke this vase, right? And so now he's trying to lie about it. And that's what the whole story's about for 30
Yeah.
minutes. It's like there's no side character trying to be shady, there's no
Yeah.
issue with the mom, and it's just that one little microcosm, and people forget about it the next day. You remember that time you broke that vase? So it's
Yeah.
just it's very quaint to your point, very simple storytelling back in the day. And so to your point, it can be a little bit slower and you don't miss stuff. Like you watch a show now on Netflix or Prime or anything, you're like, you try to do other things and you're like, what they say? Oh, whoop,
They're
whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay.
they're making Easter eggs, nods to the
Yeah.
directors, an homage to another show,
Yeah.
uh,
Yep. Good point.
tie-ins from the sister show and Another
Yep. Yep.
Hero.
Or preparing you for the future foreshadowing, more or
Yeah.
less setting up a universe,
Yeah.
cinematic universe for the whole ecosystem. But the
It's
other thing
funny,
too, you
no,
know who
I was actually watching one of the Alfred Hitchcock shows, and I was thinking a guy got shot, and I was like, "Hey, what if that was the same shooter from the previous show?" No, wait, they didn't do that back then, or maybe they did. I just
you, you you were trying to think you were like, oh, I figured this out. I figured this out. Oh, wait a minute. They don't do that.
exactly.
I love it. You know what? Who also did that? Because on my birthday, the folks were over. And we're playing old music for when I was born in the
Mm,
'70s, and then we did my the sister and everything. So you listen to those old classics. We all know them. But do you
yeah.
know? Remember the beginning of these songs? They were like a 20-minute intro before the words came in. People were just dancing for 20 minutes before the song actually
Yes.
came on. Used to be my girl. It's like 20 minutes of that song before you even had the
Yeah.
words. And that's what they did. They just
Or the outro, they do the same thing.
Yep, it's like a good 20 minutes before even the words come on, so people just because we did, like, Name That Tune, and we try to do it as fast as you can, and so you would do it, but no one did the words, but they would just do the humming of the 20-minute song, right? Before the lyrics, so my dad would be like, "Oh, used to be my girl." I was like, "Oh, yeah." Now us, they get right to it, man. It's a TikTok videos, you gotta dance, you gotta have a dance, you gotta have some lyrics, you have a beat. If you don't got those 3 things, it didn't exist.
Never.
So, yeah. Anyway, man, yeah, so that's good for you, man, going back old school, man.
Yeah, man, it's keeping me calm, and I gotta admit, I haven't jumped into Kendrick's album. You're talking about music and getting into it. I haven't jumped into Kendrick's because, yeah, man, it's too deep, and I don't know if I want all these thoughts going on. I just watched the Squabble Up video right before we started, and it got me hyped, man. And I'm sitting here like with a pen and pad, just oh man, we about to get in this here. What we gonna do? What we gonna do? Let me write that down. It's good. It's good. I saw a lot of references, had fun with this, saw a lot of TikToks earlier in the week. And this kid, man, this kid is about to do up a tour and everything. Are you excited for this whole wave of Kendrick? Because it seems like it's about to be a thing for the next year.
Yeah, man. Rumor is this he's gonna drop another album. If you read all the tea leaves or according to the TikTokers and the influencers out there, he's giving hints. He's gonna see that's Latin on the words that they were spelling on Squabble Up. That's Latin. It says it's gonna happen this year for the next video. He's a Gemini, so it's a of a thing. But yeah, I think he's in his ascendant. He's taking that crown. If he didn't have it, he definitely has it now after he handily defeated Drake. But the rumor is this is, have you heard the album yet? Listen to some of it?
No, I haven't gone through it.
It's a bop, man. This is Squabble Up was one of the bops. And it's wait a minute, you just created a Drake album. So it's just you defeated Drake and you created a Drake album. So it's
The creative Drake album. What do you
what's
say?
what's a Drake album? What does that remind you of? The songs that you want to listen to and bop your head. Kiki, do you love me? All those
Okay,
little
okay.
songs, guys playing. What? They're all bops you hear in the club, right? Squabble Up, you can hear in the club tomorrow,
Mm,
right?
you're right.
And Kendrick Lamar was not known for that. Let's be honest, for a long while. He had a couple of hot ones, but it wasn't like a whole album, and it's like a lot of songs on this one is there's some bops, man. There's some bops here. So I was like, wow, let's defeat my greatest enemy and I'll become him. He's a part of me now. Yeah, man. So that's interesting. But yeah, the deep diveness, like we talked about before we recorded, is we're
Mhm.
seeing the nerds who do the deep dives on these MCU or the DC studios, if you will,
Okay.
content, going deep dives. They're doing this for Kendrick Lamar, so it's wow. So that shows you the level that these guys are putting to their artistry now, right? It's not you can't just be the best rapper. You got to put a lot of Easter eggs in here, a lot of cultural references, a lot of pointers to previous years. Oh, this references Ice T's album cover, or this references this culture, the crunk culture, and when that happened. And this references every black person's home with the panther sitting in the corner or the black Jesus right on the wall. And so
Yeah.
it's wait, are we talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, or are we talking about Kendrick Lamar album? So it's just like it's getting to that level. And I'm glad for it, man. I'm there for it, man.
Yeah.
There's another
It actually
artist.
it
Go ahead.
actually reminds me of, Basquiat's paintings. People are always wondering, like, why is he so and yeah, you start digging into the layers of all the stuff in those paintings. It does remind me a lot of what Kendrick's doing right here. But go on.
Yeah, there's another artist. Her name is Doechii. Have you heard of her yet?
Yeah, I like her. She's hot.
Yeah, man. Guess what? She's from Tampa. I'm like, what?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. She grew up right down the street, man. I'm like, wait a minute. This she came out of Tampa. She did something on Stephen Colbert, very artistic. It was just like her and two other girls and had their braids connected. And it's very choreographed. Dance performance, obviously compared with her acting skills and her rapping skills and her singing voice. I'm like, man, these artists are taking it to another level, man. It's not so much about the music so much. It's like how you present the music that's
Yeah,
getting people to draw you into it. I guess it may have always been like that, but I think it's more so because it's like the only way to get people's attention if you have to add more. It can't just be the lyrics, can't just be your voice, can't be just what it's gotta be, you know, what's the video about? Why she do all that crazy stuff? Because
yeah,
remember Missy Elliott, she used to do all that all the time, but I think she was probably above before
yeah.
her time. But now
Mhm.
as every artist and Kendrick is showing you the pathway. If you want to stay interesting, or you be like Taylor Swift, who makes her life interesting enough that you want to stay involved. So either your artistry is so interesting that people want to dive into it, or you make your life so the lyrics you say could be references to ex-boyfriends, or you dating the tight
Yeah.
end of the Super Bowl champions, and so people are seeing you where you are. So you can't just be a simple artist anymore.
So what do you think about speaking of just being a simple artist, you heard that he's making a tour stop in Toronto, Canada?
Why not? Why not?
For those who don't know, yeah, if you're talking about like a beef between areas and locations, I'm getting this from the Bleacher Report here. Kendrick Lamar announces tour date at Toronto Blue Jays Stadium, and the fans are trolling Drake.
Hard.
So there's a lot.
That goes to show you how he's Bleacher Report is a sports media outlet. So it's interesting how he's permeated every kind of we listen to the nerd culture comment on his videos, sports
Yes,
culture commented on him. So he has that's what you have to do now in order to get all the attention. You have to hit all the bubbles. If you don't, people are not going to know what's going on. So you got to, and that's what he's doing. He's crossed that chasm.
yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'll let you know. Hey, man, I'm here for the smoke. That's one thing he's saying because
I love it.
I don't know if you saw the Rick Ross video when Rick Ross was in Toronto and they were having a party or of some type, and at one point Rick Ross told the DJ or r- the DJ with Rick Ross's blessing played Not Like Us, and a bunch of people in Toronto flipped out. I don't want to say gang members or whatever in Toronto. I don't know if they call themselves that, but they were a group of affiliated Canadians who were very upset. And they were like, turn that off right now. And it became a thing. Ross got punched in the mouth, I think, at one point. There was
Wow.
Yeah, you didn't hear about this? Yeah, it got a little
Hmm.
it got a little heated. So that was in Toronto just for playing Not Like Us. Now, Kendrick's like, "Excuse me? If you don't want a recording played, I'll go perform it myself." in your city.
Interesting. Mm,
So that's hardcore.
love it.
Yeah, and this with Drake suing because he thinks that we talked about the lawsuit. No one brings lawsuits into battle rap. Get out of here. I'm not even gonna talk about it.
Nor should you. He's trying to make it of a piece and explain, "Oh, I'm trying to help our artists," but let's be honest, you weren't thinking about helping artists before, you know? So if the scale was tipped in your favor prior to Kendrick Lamar, how come you didn't say nothing then? So it's the
Yeah,
argument is we don't talk politics too much on this pod, but like the whole argument with Joe Biden pardoning his son, Hunter Biden, right? This argument was we stand for the rule of law. We're gonna do what's right for the people, the populace. And yes, if my son is accused, yes, I'm not gonna pardon him. No, that goes out the window. So it's like, where's your stance? So just like,
yeah, yeah.
Drake, same way, man. Just come on, man. We know what this is about. And just have some respect, man, and just try to win back on your own, man. Just go back in the lab. But
Have some respect. Be disrespected in peace. All right. Just be
ooh,
peaceful when you're being disrespected. You are being dissed literally in your own town. It's gonna be great. I'm sorry. I don't always get into that, but I want that. I want to see the smoke
are you so let me ask you, Mr. Benj. I've
from the
been on this.
Toronto tour.
I'm gonna ask you about this. I've been on this since I had a chance to see Prince back in Atlanta, and that was his last performance. I've been on
Oh,
this, yeah.
I
I had a
didn't
chance.
know that.
I didn't get the chance to go see Prince, and so I've
Uh,
always regretted that live in performance. So I've been
mhm.
on this kick. Like I had tickets to go see Kanye West when he came down here to Tampa, but he
Yeah.
canceled it. That's he went crazy. He canceled it. I'm on this whole kick that I gotta go see artists, right?
Yeah.
They're performing artists live. And so are you at that point where you want to see these artists live still? Or you're okay with not having to
It
see it?
it depends, and that's if I get into the whole artistic vibe of them, then I'm in for it. I saw Kanye West twice, the Flashing Lights tour and the I forgot what the name of the other tour was, but it was the big, dark, and dreary one with the big mountain in the back.
Not Life of Pablo, was it?
No, the one right before Life of Pablo.
Oh,
But yeah, I was into what Kanye was trying and doing, so I wanted to witness that and feel the vibe of all the people there, and I really got it. I was like, "Oh, okay. This is what he's doing, and this is what he's up to." So, yeah, whenever that happens and comes around, I think the first time that really hit me as a concept, I saw Cypress Hill live,
mm.
and I was into them, right? And I was
Mhm.
really into their music, and I was fascinated. I was like I was in Florida, and I was thinking, "I don't understand these California references. I'm not into weed." At the time, and it just the whole scene didn't make sense to me, but I was really fascinated by Cypress Hill. I really liked them. So when I went to one of their concerts, and I saw the people who were listening to it, and I saw how they behaved and the whole vibe, I was like, "Oh, okay. I get the images. I get the iconography. I get the music. I started to get all of that." And yes, a little while later, I partook in the herb. I was starting to understand it a little more. Their music
Mm.
changed for me when I could understand the context. So anybody right now that I'd want to do that for, gosh, I would have liked to seen Prince as well. That would have been
Yeah.
nobody right now though.
Yeah. Like I said, he's got probably touring now. I'm gonna probably go see him. I saw Usher last year. Where he had that residency, which was amazing. I didn't expect this. I didn't know it was gonna be like that. My wife wanted to go see it because she saw the TikToks and
Yeah.
all that. So I had the chance to go see him as his residency in Las Vegas. It
Did
was
you buy
amazing,
roller
man.
skates?
No, but I was like, dude, he's our age. You know that, right, Mr. Benja?
Yeah, yeah.
He's out there just doing all the moves. I'm like, every time he did a move, I was like, my knee. Just looking at my knee. I was like, oh my goodness, man, how are you doing that? But yeah, that's so yeah, kudos to him. Like I said, I'm glad I saw that. I saw Jay-Z in concert. I saw Beyonce, of course, years ago. I saw so it's Kendrick is probably another one I probably want to go see in concert. So if he does come down here to the Florida world, I definitely want to go check him out and just say, hey,
All right.
this is a guy. I haven't seen Drake in concert though, but maybe it's not important. But you know what, Mr. Benja? We did see Drake. We did see Kendrick. You remember?
Wait.
Coachella. He is his cousin.
Oh yeah, Baby Keem
Keem
was
came
there.
out. Yeah, Baby Keem, but then Kendrick came out. but I think we had walked away when he did come came out.
Yeah.
We like, "Oh, we missed it. We were leaving."
Yeah, when you're walking one way at a concert and you see a bunch of other people running the opposite way and you're like, "Wait, what's going on that way?"
We missed it.
Yeah,
So, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, man, kudos to him. Taylor Swift, we're talking about music in general. You heard the latest, biggest tour ever, close to 2 billion. Yeah, it's huge, obviously. Look, she's just really good marketer, man. I mean, yes, she's got good music and she's an artist as well. I'm not going to denigrate Swifties. Don't come at me, but you can because I talked about you before. True story. I told my team on my other YouTube channel, I said, hey, I'm just going to say it. I said, I don't like Taylor Swift. Man, that got the most views that we ever put out there, man. Because I said I did not like Taylor Swift. And it was the hate came, man. The hate came. I loved it. But anyway, Taylor
Imma
Swift
go
definitely
find
is
it
an
now,
artist.
leave a bad comment.
But yeah, she's a good artist, but man, she's I think her skills are marketing, man. Not only was she able to build up momentum for obviously we talked about this business standpoint, got her masters back, and she couldn't get her masters back. So basically she just re-recorded all her old hits. So she didn't really do anything new. This ain't new
Right?
music. This just music. I'm just gonna sing it again. Maybe throw a little riff in here, maybe get Baby Spice or what's Ice Spice on a little remix, but nothing's new, guys,
Yeah,
and she outsold that, then take that same concept and made a concert out of it. Songs that people already knew.
yeah.
So it just and became the top sell and then got a movie out of it.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot you can say for making an experience, right? Where you start to build up this catalog and it stops becoming about promoting something new and showing off your new creation to, okay, we've developed this language, this palette of ideas and concepts and color, sounds, thoughts, etc. And now that it all exists, we can just enjoy it together and play with it. And that's a great thing. I don't know how many albums Taylor Swift has, but you need a couple albums and a lot of reps to do that where you can just come out and say, you know what, I'm going to have an experience. I'm going to have a Vegas residency. I'm going to go on this tour that lasts 2 years or whatever.
mhm.
And no, it's a beautiful thing. So I applaud her for getting all that together and making it happen and doing it and having the depth to where an experience is actually entertaining and not just, hey, we're going to play the hits.
And look, she's got what 283 million followers on Instagram. There's over 330 million people in the United States. So she's got her own country basically that she has followers on. You look at some of the other ones out there, they have maybe a tenth of what she has.
Yeah.
So it's that helps, and then obviously she's really key on her music could be about her boyfriends or could be about exes. She happened to link in that probably took her to the stratosphere, right? This
Yeah.
Super Bowl connection, right? Super Bowl is the most popular sport in America. She got connected to Travis Kelsey, who's tight end, not a quarterback even, but a tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the Super Bowl champs, Kansas City Chiefs. And so now she's showing up at every game, and especially when so I thought it was gonna be a short-term thing because it was, like, very convenient how they got together around the time when her movie was coming out, right? But, they're still together, so we'll see. But Arrival, the Josh Allen for the Buffalo Bills, he just got engaged to actress what's her name? Steinfeld, I think that's her name, Haley. She was the Haley Steinfeld. Is it Haley? I'm gonna get it a second, guys. She was Gwen Stacy in the Spider-Verse movies.
Oh, okay.
Know her. Yeah, Steinfeld. She's been around for a minute, actress, but yeah, they got engaged. So we'll see what happens with them and how they're gonna take it to the next level. She was in Pitch Perfect. She does the voice for Arcane. I don't know if you watched it.
Yeah.
She was in Hawkeye. She was Hawkeye, the Kate Hawkeye. I don't know if you watched that.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Now it's all clicking. I do remember that. Do you yeah, I tried to put you on Arcane a while back.
Yeah, is it good?
Yeah, yeah. It's something that needs to be watched because it seems, I don't wanna say simple, but it seems like stuff is just going on normally, but there's a good amount of, subtext. I don't even wanna say subtext, that's not really the right word, but there's a good amount of artistry put into the show and the work that they're creating. So when you start to see this side versus that side, it's, okay, this guy is fighting for character, his personal character, and this guy is fighting for his honor, which is the honor of the community or whatever. And there's a slight bit of you can see friction happening at certain points, and you're starting to watch these themes play out. Arcane's good, and I watched it because I wanted to see if a video game property could play out like this, and it really took the property to the next level.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because that's the first one that League of Legends outside of the arcade or the game industry. That's their first kind of thing that they've done when it comes to that. Is that correct? Arcane? It's based on League of Legends games.
Yeah, yeah, from Riot Games. I used to work down the street from them when I was at Sony.
So
Yeah,
yeah, so that's they're building their expanded universe, creating their own kind of content outside of the games, and so Arcane is a part of that piece of it.
one thing you might want to check out, just maybe for the future note, there it's like taking on a Pokemon strategy, where instead of one character, you just have this huge field of characters where there's like a gang of Pokemon, 150, 200, whatever Pokemon, and then you can make stories out of each of those. You can make a Snorlax game, Pokemon Sleep or whatever. It's all about Snorlax.
Hmm,
And you can make a Pikachu game. If you want some bed warmers, you get your Charmander, Charvizard bed warmers. And you just have this stock of characters that you can build all types of properties and you could license off for whatever reason. And with League of Legends, I think you can do a similar thing. And it's brilliant where you don't have one character, you just have this huge conglomerations, huge stock pile of a roster of characters that you can like, hey, let's make a spin-off, let's make a side this, let's make a side that, and there is no one singular property.
interesting. Yeah, so I just know League of Legends is like huge. There was a show I watched called Player. I don't know if you watched that. It was on I wanna
No,
say Prime, but yeah, I think they were talking about a league it was like a League of Legends type game, and they had these VE player. It was a makeup world, it was funny, it's supposed to be funny at least, and it was like going to diving into that world of what it takes to be an E player, right, and what that looks like. Yeah, man, anyway, yeah, so we were talking about sports and Taylor Swift, we went down a rabbit hole, but I think it's all of a piece, right? Just like these artists, these musicians trying to find a link into different bubbles. And so I'm not saying that
mhm,
Taylor Swift and Kelsey's relationship is fake, but it does seem convenient. And so she's still dominating the charts, if you will. Yeah, so it's interesting how that's all working out for them. Mr. Benja, do we want to? I want to pivot real quick. I don't know if there's a good laid off to this, but this United Healthcare thing, and then maybe we can end it off with a rant at the end. But United Healthcare CEO, for those that know my other business, I'm in the healthcare space. And so this kind of was interesting for me, Mr. Benja. And I think you talked to me about it, but I've been monitoring it. I literally stayed at that Hilton. I know exactly where he was at. I
okay.
was there back in
So hold on, back up. Give them the quick overview.
yeah, yeah. So basically, earlier as we're recording this, probably around Thanksgiving week or last week, basically in November, end of November, the United Healthcare CEO, he was happened to be at a conference down in New York City, Midtown, not too far from Central Park. And when he came out in the morning just to do whatever, relax or whatever, a gentleman came out of the shadows and basically what's a word we can say without getting banned by it, but basically did away with him with
Decided his game was over.
yes, in so many words. And so it was shocking because it was in broad daylight. It was in the morning. I think I read this somewhere. It's like when someone dies in a war zone or something, no one's soldier dies, no one's worried. But when someone dies in broad daylight. And so something like this, I think people get shocked. And so this was very a tragedy that has happened out of the blue. And I think the guy was 50 years old. And then the gentleman who, or purposely, people are saying it may be someone else, but this person, they just escaped and they have not found this person yet. They're still trying to, they're still at large. Someone who was in the most surveillance, probably one of the most video heavy cities in America just disappeared. Killing someone in broad daylight is just unheard of. And so a lot of parts to unpack here, Mr. Benja. I know you're not in the healthcare space, but insurers, United Healthcare,
Yeah,
unfortunately, is one of those insurers, just like all big companies that have a profit motive. If you're insuring people, basically people are paying money every month called premiums just in case stuff happens. So when stuff
right.
happens, then it's up to the insurer to determine if they're going to pay out for your cancer treatment or your
Yep.
MRI and all that. But if their goal is for a profit motive, you think they're incentivized to want to pay out all the time. and that was written on the bullet that was on the ground, the shell casting that was on the ground. It said, "Deny defense," and and I forgot what the other terms were, but basically, it was just the terms that they use to prevent people from getting the money they need for life saving treatment. And so it became of a piece, right? And this hate
Mhm.
that came toward healthcare in general, insurers, on how they're hurting Americans when it comes to denying them from the care that they need. I got a lot of pieces to this,
That
and I don't know
that
if you
that
had some thoughts on that.
yeah, so I didn't know about the shell casings. I'm looking at the news report here. Shell casings with the word delay and deny were written on them. Were found at the scene of the shooting. Hmm. And apparently that's a common phrase in the industry. Delay, deny, defend. And it's immediately this is somebody delay, deny, and defend is a common phrase used in the industry. It's a title of a popular book that is critical of tactics allegedly used by insurers. That's coming from CBS News. And initially got on this because I saw a bunch of people discussing it. And if someone had their game ended and that was that, it'd be like, okay, what was it about? But this case caught my eye because of the public reaction to it. And a lot of people are really, I don't want to say happy about it, although there are many who are, but it's like this indifference and this separation, this screw him. And I that's part of that whole veneer thing I was talking about earlier, where it's like people are stressed out and there's something going on. When I started reading the comments from a lot of these people reporting on the story, that's what I felt. And I was like, oh, wow. So that's what got me interested in the story.
Because you saw a lot of uh, communication around it on the discourse on the internet. That's what kind of bubbled up in your viewpoint.
Yeah, I'm looking at some comments right now. This guy says it's hard to care about someone who's always put profits over people. I doubt anyone in his family was ever denied care or treatment. Some other person says, "May the rich be eaten." Other person, murder for murder, and with the clapping emoji. And this is as far as what I'm seeing. Maybe this is my no, it's not even my algorithm. I'm not logged in here, so it's just what's predominantly out there, or at least people are being loudest about, which is interesting,
Yeah. If you never dealt with insurer, it can be it's tough, man. They try to
infuriating
push you
at
back.
times.
Yeah, man. Yes, it's terrible, man. And unfortunately, we're in the system. We That's the problem with healthcare, man. We have this private system that's supposed to give you, and when you have a area where you need help from a health standpoint, you'll pay whatever it costs, 1,000,000, $1,000,000,000, right? Whatever it takes to extend your life, right? So you're a captured audience, right? So it's not like you have choices.
Right.
You need this paid for. If the doctor said this could save your life, you got to get it paid for, and you got to deal with these insurers. And unfortunately, and that's why they can make as much money as they want. United Healthcare is the largest of them all. They made in revenue
Hmm.
$371 billion.
Yeah.
Just one company, one sure. And it's a trillion. The GDP, it's 20% of the United States GDP healthcare costs. So it's just that's
Yeah.
like trillions of dollars tied into healthcare. So yeah, man, this is something that affects everybody. And it's interesting they're tying it to the rich factor and all that stuff. But I think it goes deeper than that because at the same time, we elected a billionaire, quote unquote, a billionaire to the White
Yeah.
House. So is it really about the rich or is it really about certain aspects of the rich
Well,
they feel like that's not on their side?
yeah. And let me jump back in here with this. Back in 2023, it was reported that United Health uses faulty AI to deny elderly patients medically necessary coverage. Lawsuit. In this lawsuit, that's what they're claiming. And the lawsuit filed claimed that United Health legally denied elderly patients care owed to them by the Medicare Advantage plans by deploying an AI model known by the company to have a 90% error rate, overriding determinations made by the patient's physician that the expenses were medically necessary. If someone, hey, they plugged in the AI, I'm sorry, we can't change it. It's policy. If you start getting that kind of thing when your family members are passing away, that's rough, man. And I don't know. I really hope some healthcare changes happen. Maybe we should call up Mark Cuban and see what he has to say.
This
Cost
cost
plus
plus idea, yeah.
cost plus drugs, which I haven't
Yeah.
actually used, but I want to check it out.
As someone who works in this industry, man, I can tell you, man, it is opaque and it's very like murky for a reason, man. I I am like still flabbergasted about how much obfuscation and just unknown of how the stuff works. There's levels to this thing, man. And so I would just say that I think people gotta realize that they're incentivized to not pay out, really, the
Yeah,
healthcare companies, and that's insurance in general. Let's think about it. Any kind of insurance, car insurance, any type of insurance you pay, because basically that's free money for them, right? As long as
yeah,
you keep paying monthly, as long as you don't never have to come out later for pay it out, they're good. But as soon as
yeah,
you want that money from what you paid into, then that's when things get murky, right? I live in Florida, right? From we have hurricanes, man. They're trying to deny people for getting new roofs, right? Because of the hurricane. They're leaking roofs, but they're denying people all of a sudden. If you had any issues with any type of flooding, oh, you're in a
yeah,
flood zone. You should have got this coverage. So denied. Wait a minute, I didn't know that coverage changed. So it's like
yeah.
insurance is like the biggest scam, man. And unfortunately, it's like they change the policy so fast and so furious
Yeah.
that you don't even know until when you finally. So I've been paying you guys historically for 10 years, at least
Yeah.
just thousands of dollars. And now I just need $50,000 to fix my roof. And you push back on me. And
Yeah.
that's just health. That's just a house, right? Which is not your health. Imagine your health when you have to get that. So
Yeah.
you're even more desperate. So yeah, man, it's I don't know. I would just say this: Aetna had a policy where they were denying people anesthesia. So this is crazy. If you were on your table, yes. If you're on the table and, and then, wait a minute, and then the surgery went longer than what was prescribed, they could actually try to well, not turn it off, but basically say we're not going to pay for anesthesia after an hour. So basically, they're gonna keep you on anesthesia, right? But they will keep paying you. They would start instead of the insurer paying for the anesthesia, they would make you pay for it.
Oh,
But check this out. After this happened, no, but check this out. After this happened, they stopped that policy. But that goes to show you the depth of what they do to get as much profit margin
bro,
out of everything.
I'm here laughing because I'm thinking of this sitcom kind of situation where you got somebody like Chappelle in the bed. Hurry up, the vein coming. Just how you gonna turn on man, that is wild. But I something that is completely within bounds of what I expect from them.
Yeah, man. It's the profit motive. Hey, I know we're going a little longer than normal, but do you want to get into the stoicism real quick, rant back and forth real quick? We can go
Yeah,
in
it's
a little bit
towards
more.
the end of the year,
Yeah.
man. Let's give give 'em a little gift.
Yeah. Let's get into this.
Yeah, so what are your thoughts on stoicism? Because I think we hit this from two different angles around the same time. Maybe I don't know. Is it something you've been thinking about? Ryan Holiday is a big proponent of. You looking back on your
I
bookshelf
am.
over there.
I'm trying to see if I have that. John, it's probably on my other
The
bookshelf.
obstacle is the
But
way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, great stuff. Marcus Aurelius, big fan. But there's other piece, right? This whole internet culture thing where they take an ideal or a subject matter and just run with it and becomes like this is the thing you have to do. And
Yeah,
I feel that's what happened with this whole model, man. It's like people are realizing that the obstacles away, this whole scenarios are just not working for them anymore. This because stoicism is about accepting the reality of the world as it is, right? And being in control of your own kind of focus here. At least my interpretation of maybe you have a different
mhm,
interpretation of what stoicism is. But from my thought point is accepting the reality of the world, right? As it is.
yeah,
And Marcus Aurelius meditations is the Bible for folks like this. But then you have people like Ryan Holiday, you have people like Tim Ferriss take that and just say, hey, this is the Bible to be as successful as we are. So
yeah,
now they're in this internet world and they're saying, look, the reason why we're millionaires, billionaires, or multimillionaires is because we're Stoics, right? We have embraced this policy of embrace the
right,
hard thing or understand the obstacles, and you can too. And so Tim Ferriss, if you don't know, he was the one who wrote the 4-Day Work Week and just came with this whole idea of virtual assistants. And now he's on this whole experimentation phase, right? He's trying to hack his body and do all this other stuff. But he was one of the big time influencers, right? Up there with Gary Vee in the early days of this internet. boom that we see, internet influencer boom. And
Yeah.
so he embraced that with Ryan Holiday, who became this growth hacker, this guy who was talking about like how you can make the goal is to grow at all costs, right? Which seems almost the opposite of what stoicism is. But and so I say all this to give
Yeah.
people background. I think so the hustle culture of the internet kind of co-opted stoicism to create this nice, serene, bigger than ourselves philosophy, and created this whole ecosystem, this whole and you take this part. I
Yeah.
would say even Alex Hormozy is part of this, right? This whole
Sh
ecosystem. It's
Yeah,
we
yeah.
get into that,
The
right? What is
ecosystem, you say,
stoicism?
yeah,
The
the
ecosystem,
ecosystem.
right? So
I get it.
ecosystem is based on a Roman type infrastructure, right? Because Marcus Aurelius was a Roman emperor. And so
Mhm.
you think about their aesthetic, the beard, their aesthetic of focused on what's important in life and being understanding to take the hard things is part of that hustle culture that internet culture has pushed for startup. I'm in the startup
Mhm.
phase and all that. So when I saw this video, YouTube essay, and they talked about how this has co-opted stoicism, the internet culture has co-opted stoicism to make it more of a easier sell. And to me, that the light bulb just came up. I said, that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened to this election because you have these
Oh,
ecosystem of all these bros, the men sphere,
yeah.
that say, "Hey, we're losing all kind of influence, right? We DEI is taking over woke culture, women, the Me Too movement. We have to gain it back." And Stoicism gives them a sense of a higher, like a nice veneer of misogyny or quote unquote some slight racism because it's look, we're just trying to do what we need to do to be successful, and that's accepting our limitations. And now you have this whole manosphere, which I always say this to you, but it's not true. Your boy.
Grant Cardone?
No, that too.
Oh,
Grant
okay.
Cardone, but what's his name? The podcast, the number one podcaster, Joe Rogan. Andrew Tate, that's not your boy. I know that. It's of a piece, right? This whole even Peterson a little bit, right? Just this as a man, accept your manliness, right, and take it back, right? And stoicism can help you take it back. So so that's the impression
Well,
I
yes.
got from that. Yeah,
Yeah, to me, it's always been this, and this isn't just for Stoicism. This happens in all types of philosophies, religions, ways of thinking, ideologies. It happens all over the place where you'll find someone is feeling a certain way, and then they don't have all of the words, or they don't have everything to put it together. So they're like, "Hey, look, this thing kind of matches all my ideas." And there's some stuff in there that's weird and esoteric or whatever, but I don't care about that. I'm just going to jump onto it and take it. And we see that this even happens in like music or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I like those drums, I like that beat or whatever. I'll just do whatever I want with it. And there's a "It's Not Like Us" video. I'll send it to James because he's got to get that one. But it's very yeah, co-opting is the common word, but there's a whole thing behind it where someone makes a fake philosophy based on another philosophy and twist it to their own means. But
called a
uh,
cult.
yeah, something like that. But let me go from what our friends over at Google had said, and this came from a Gemini search, which was funny. I just searched on Google, and it's like, hey, here's what Gemini, our AI system, has to say about Broicism. So it says, let me start with Stoicism. It says Stoicism is based on the idea that people can't control the world around them, but they can control how they respond to it. Stoics believe that virtue is only good for humans, and the external things like health, wealth, and pleasure are not good and bad in themselves. They just exist. And then it goes on to say Broicism is a life hack that applies Stoic philosophy to entrepreneurs and young men. It's often described as a Roman regimen for success and self discipline. It's a practical guide for entrepreneurs, and I laughed at this, and a philosophical stress ball for tech bros. It's often associated with the Hollywood Rome of Spartacus and Gladiator, which is seen as a symbol of toughness and valor. I'm impressed that Google Gemini said that Broicism was a philosophical stress ball for tech bros. That's beautiful.
No, I get it, man. It's of a piece. And when I saw that YouTube video and I sent your way, it unlocked for me at least what is happening inside. Because I was telling my mother and aunt who we just went through contentious election. I
Mhm.
think there were these bubbles that people didn't even know about. And as Black men, we're aware of those because we're in that
Right.
space a little bit. Because I was talking to my dad and my brother-in-laws, and they got it too. Because we've seen those type of brosphere
Yeah.
kind of conversations. But you talk to Black women, even some white women, they don't know anything about this space. And that's probably why they
Yeah,
were
that's a good
so
point.
shocked. They were so shocked when they found out that, wow, that's what the election was lost. Where did these guys come from? No, they always been here. And it's been
Yeah.
building, right? The beard as aesthetic. And that's why I say out some Moses of a piece. The whole working out, the whole hustle culture, the whole you got to be hard. And I think it's a pushback against the perception that every other folks. Oh, what the argument I gave to the family was that a lot of times these men who young men, they're trying to date women and stuff like that. Let's be honest,
Oh, yeah, the
5% of them,
the whole pickup scene there too,
yeah,
but go on.
the 5% of men are probably the top notch guys that most of the women want to get with. Rest of the 95%, and it's tough pickings, right? You know, and so they're mad about that, right? Then that's number one. Number two, they're mad about what the perceived culture change, where you see ascendant other cultures, right? And transsexuals and not trans, excuse me. Yeah, is that what you call? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a
Mhm.
blank right now. So you got different
Well,
ascendant minorities, right? That they perceive as getting a better shake than they get.
yeah,
And
and
so they're
I'd say that falls under the whole umbrella category of broism versus woke, and you
yeah.
get this
But
umbrella.
then but there's always been like that. Again, like I talked at the beginning of this episode, history, man, there's always been the
Mhm.
other. It's not your fault, it's the other's fault that you're not successful. And so I
Yeah.
think we're bringing that back into play. Human nature doesn't change. If there's another scapegoat, you're gonna find out a scapegoat before you blame yourself. And so we're seeing that now with the anti-woke culture, the red
Mhm.
pill, the whole what's that? The quality man. What was that thing? That was the other thing that came out about the quality man, the
High
man.
value man, yeah.
Yep. So it's of a piece, right? And so now and to me, that was the unlock when I watched that video. Is oh, there's this whole men's sphere that we're familiar with, but a lot of
Yeah.
people, especially women, don't really understand. And that's what really swayed the election. And that's what's really swaying kind of culture underneath it all, right? Because they're not as vocal, but they're there. They're listening to these podcasts,
Yeah.
they're doing all this stuff. And when it's time to make a decision, then they'll be like, oh wow, I didn't know they were there.
Did you see, Grant Cardone post the chill guy meme?
No.
Yeah.
What's that about?
He was standing in the pose and everything. I remember when we brought up the chill guy, we were discussing whether it was like it's an interesting meme, but I'm like, I think this is really connected to a lot of the crypto stuff and the people, tech bros, and this group, if you want to call them that. And next thing I know, he's posted multiple posts about how he's the chill guy now. So his suits are toned down and he's just got this cream colored pants and a gray sweatshirt on, and just, hey, people think I'm a big MAGA supporter, but really I'm just low key chill. And it's like, here we go.
Oh, these guys, man. I love it, man. He's switching it up, man. I love it, man. That's what you do. Marketing 101, man. Be like
Yeah.
water, my friend. Be like water.
But I want to throw a little wrench up in this train of thought, because what's funny is when you sent me that video, it wasn't wrong. I was listening to it, I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is coming from this and that." But I realized it was leaving out a lot of stuff. It's, wait a minute. It's not like stoicism is bad. It was twisted. So
Mm,
now
mm,
it's twisting the whole idea of what was going on with the Roman emperors, Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, and maybe a couple others if you want to throw them in there. But I was listening to this video, and he's, guys, they're just trying to get your money. They're doing this and that. And we talked to this professor, right? And of course, a college professor is very dainty outfit, or quaint. That's the word we use. Quaint outfit. He's sitting behind a desk. I was very surprised that these people hadn't really understood the meaning of stoicism and all this. I'm like, okay, I can see that. And then he starts explaining, like, in-depth translations from Greek and Latin, and I don't understand how people don't understand this. And it's, dude, who is doing that? Who is doing that kind of research? What are you talking about? So it started to get weird and a little bit high and mighty, but it was still trying to throw a lot of shade on Stoicism, in general. but using bros as the reason to do it or something. It was weird. So as I was watching this, I was like, this is how they're breaking apart quote unquote logic. This is how they're doing it. And then at some point they said, hey, listen, we just want to help people. We really do. I'm going to put the links in the show notes and everything. I'm like, oh, okay, links are going to be in the show notes and where I can find actual Stoic information. I went down to the links after it was over. None of those links took me to anything about Stoicism. I found out where to buy a t shirt. I found out how I could join this guy's Patreon. I found out how I could support his travel to some country to do research. And there were all these links to other stuff, but nothing about actually learning what Stoicism was. So I thought that was very interesting. And I was, yeah, this is what's happening now. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, it undercut their whole argument a little bit. Yeah, the scamification of stoicism, and they were using that as a cover for their scam. So I get it.
Smash that subscribe button, join my Patreon. Yeah. Smash that bell. Yeah, come on, man.
Mr. Benja, man, I love it, man. We look, guys. I hope you look, Mr. Benja. Was there anything else that we missed this week? I think this was a good one.
I know we hit on everything we said we were. Don't buy the Hawk to a girl's crypto if
Mhm.
it's still possible to. But I think we hit most everything else.
Nah, this has been good, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Me and Mr. Benja always enjoy doing these things. And so, look, we're going to end it here. But look, if you like what you heard, subscribe, comment, and show us business on X, Threads, YouTube, and Instagram. We may have a Blue Sky account coming out soon. So be
Oh
on the
god.
lookout for that. Listen to us at Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Visit us on our website, Show versus Business. Mr. Benja, have a good one.
Peace.